Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Soccer Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We will be covering another uninspiring performance from England as they draw 0-0 with England. We'll talk about France drawing with Poland and hence dropping to second place in their group and now winning it. Then speaking of that group, our next topic is talking about Austria defeating Netherlands, and that was enough for them to finish first in Group D. Great achievement for them. We also discuss tomorrow's matchups in Group E as we wrap up the conclusion of that group, or we discuss the conclusion of that group. And make sure you stick around for the end of the show, where I'll be giving you my thoughts on some of the top headlines going on in the soccer world. Before we start off, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions that come in during the show, so to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the Timson Donations League at GSMCpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also really helps grow the show. So again, the link is GSMCpodcast.net. We have to start off with England and their another uninspiring victory, but performance as they draw 0-0 to Slovenia. It's same old England again in terms of, wow, what a disappointing result, what a disappointing performance. Really bad from them. Because, look, there definitely was progression throughout this game. I thought in the first half, that first 10 minutes was shocking. In that Slovenia was the team that looked dominant. England looked so sloppy in possession and looked like they feared it in this game. It was just so bad. You look at Slovenia, they weren't afraid. Now, this game became a little bit more clear, more simpler for England, because it was clear, especially in that second half, that Slovenia were playing for that draw, playing for that point, because that point was enough to see them through. But yeah, the performance from England was so uninspiring and it's so not good enough. And there's been a lot of big talks regarding the team, the lineup, Southgate, all that. And yeah, it's look, let's be clear though. In terms of what they have achieved, they have finished top of the group, unbeaten, and they are now, because of that, they're rewarded with being on the much easier side of the bracket. They will be on the opposite side of the bracket of France, Germany, Spain, Portugal. If you look at the other teams so far in their bracket, you got Italy, Switzerland, and I believe the other team was, I have to pull it up real quick. I forgot what it was. Austria, because of Austria winning the group. So massive, that's a massive boost. I'm not, winning the group and finishing first. That's still big for England, because it makes it easier for them in the knockout stages, which they're going to need, which they have benefited off in previous international tournaments. They have benefited off of having easier routes to the final. But the performance levels has not been good enough. They tried out Trent Alexander-Arnold first two games. That didn't really work out. They bring in Conor Gallagher today, and they sub him off, and they bring in Mainu instead, who kind of, the team became a little bit more intricate, a little bit more forward-going, a little bit more dynamic with Mainu in. It's a very good chance now that I think Mainu is going to be the one that starts in that knockout stage game, which is not good, because you're starting a player in the knockout stages that you haven't played, that hasn't started a single game at the World Cup. In the group stages. That's really bad, because if you look at Germany, you look at Spain, you look at France, they all know their team. They know that Didier Deschamps, he's known from probably the beginning of the tournament what 11 players he's going to play in the knockout stages. Same with Nagelsmann, same with Luis de la Fuente with Spain. They all know the teams that they're gonna, the starting 11. And with this England team, there's still big question marks amongst who's that midfielder that plays alongside Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, and they're having to experiment within the group stages, which is so bad. But yes, they did get top of the group, and that's a big thing on the positive side. But you want to enter this knockout stage round with a little bit of momentum, and there's no momentum within this team. I mean, drawing the last two games, the first game really should have, really were lucky to get out of there with 3 points. Really would have made that group interesting. That opening game that really should have won, finished in a draw. That game potentially, if that went Serbia's way, if they were able to nick it at the end, this group would have been completely level. Every single team would have finished with a point, with 3 points, because all of the games would have been draws. Wouldn't that be a crazy scenario to be in? Even right now, this where we find ourselves in, Denmark and Slovenia are only separated not by goal differential, not by points, not by goal differential, not by goals scored, but by yellow cards. That's why Denmark finished second while Slovenia finished third. The group was just so tight, and the only reason why Serbia are not the team that got through is because they lost that opening game to England in a game that they really had their chances to equalize. They really were the forward-thinking team, especially for the latter part of the first half and the entirety of the second half. So that's a frustrating angle that Serbian fans are probably looking at this point of age. But as far as England, it's just not been good enough. It's been a lack of cohesion. It's been very negative at certain times. This game, even in the second half where they started getting a little bit more possession, you never really thought that they really, we never really believed that they really had what it takes to break down that low block, because it was in that second half. Slovenia, it was clear. Slovenia were trying to get out of there with a point. They were happy with that result, and it was good for them. That's an important result for them to get into the knockout stage. And that made it simpler for England because they didn't really have to worry about anything in transition. But still, for England, there was just no real cutting edge, no real creativity, not good enough. Again, just too stagnant. And Gareth Southgate will get a lot of blame, and justifiably so. But this is, honestly, Gareth Southgate is a big problem. But this is more than just Gareth Southgate too. The players are. I don't know if I can go to the point where they say they're not good enough, but they're not performing to the level that they perform for their club sides. Harry Kane has hardly had a kick this tournament. Phil Foden, the first game he was shocking, misplaying balls here and there. Second game he was not that much better. Today, Declan Rice, this entire tournament, he has not been up to his level. Like, they're not at the levels of a team that looks like they're competing for a European championship. And now they go up against, they have to, if they're going to have to, I can't speak. But now in the opening game, they'll probably take on a third place team. And I don't think they'll have much of a difficulty, whoever they take on. I don't know if it's possible if they can take on the Netherlands. If it is possible they can take on the Netherlands, that could be a tricky situation that they find themselves in. If they take on the Netherlands, that'll be very tricky. But if they don't take on the Netherlands, I think it'll be pretty simple for them getting through that round of 16. But then in the quarterfinals, I don't know exactly how the draw breaks out, but they'll probably face Italy, Switzerland winner. A team with that kind of quality that can really make England pay for the amount of possession that they concede. Because you sit back and if you get sucked in by one of these teams that actually have the quality to break you down. Because let's face it, Denmark, they're a decent side. Serbia, there's no goals in that team. They scored 1 goal this whole European Championship. Slovenia, The quality is not there. But to be honest, they're really not there. But you go up, this England national team, if they really go up against a quality opponent that has ability, that can play in transition, that can be clinical, this is going to be a short European championship for them. Just, I thought, for me, it was so important for England, not just to win this game, but to have a dominant performance, to get the fans back on their side, and to relieve the pressure, the tension amongst the camp, and to go in with some sort of momentum. There is no momentum right now for England. No momentum going into the round of 16. Now, they do have another, I wouldn't say another training session, but they do have another, not the most difficult tie, because they will be taking a third place team because of the fact that they won the group, which you still have to congratulate them. They won the group. But, it's a knockout stage game. It's a one-leg tie. Is this really the time that you're trying to build momentum? You want to be entering these knockout stage games with momentum, because, now that they don't have momentum, this tie, this could go either way for England. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for them in the round of 16. I think it's going to be tight, despite whatever third place team that they play. It's going to be tight. It's going to be nervy. It's going to be a tactical battle. And I don't know. I don't trust these players under that kind of pressure. The England national team, the players cannot handle the pressure. The badge, the 3 Lions badge is too much for them, because you see the level of performances they put up for their clubs in a high pressurized moments, the moments that they come up with, the clutch moments, they don't provide that for their national team. Once they get into the national team, once they put on the England badge, it just becomes too heavy for them. They play so pragmatic. They have a mentality of playing not to lose rather than to win, which I don't know where it comes from, because they don't get taught this in their club game. Guardiola doesn't teach Phil Foden this. Carlo Ancelotti doesn't teach Bellingham this. This is a mentality issue amongst this England team, coaching issue, mentality issue, and it's really, I don't think you can take much positives from England. In fact, I don't think you can take any positives other than the fact that they win the group. And them winning the group, honestly, them winning the group is massive. I can't put it towards how big that is, because, I'm looking at it. You see their, I personally, I wouldn't favor them, but a lot of people, despite their poor performances, are still going to have them as the clear favorites to get to the final out of that bracket. Me personally, not for me. I think if Belgium get put on that side, I think they're a more deadly team than England. Maybe that's a hot take, maybe not. But still, it's a bad place England find themselves in. So, short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll be discussing France drawing with Poland and dropping to second in their group, and whether these are some concerning signs for France.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Before the break, we discussed England and their uninspiring performance as they drew with Slovenia 0-0. We move on to react to France drawing with Poland. Hence, they dropped second place in the group. Yeah, interesting game in my opinion. A game, honestly, I have to be honest. I watched this game and all that. Don't get me wrong. I was tuned into the game, but I was really like, I had two screens. I had the main one and I had my iPad. I put this game on my iPad and I had the main screen up because I was, the Netherlands Austria game, and but this game gave us a very interesting show. First of all, I just want to say it's weird. France, they have not rocked their blue jerseys yet at these European Championship. This is their first game. This is usually their main kit. I have to say, brilliant kit. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. I love that style of blue, that royal blue, with the matching shorts. I thought they all looked really tough out there. It looks so good. I love the royal blue color. Just a tough fit in my opinion. Tough jersey, tough kit. But regarding the game though, in general, France is never, under Deschamps, has never really been a team that dictates the tempo of a game, that dictates the rhythm of a game, and that's a dominant force that suffocates teams. Never been France, ever. They've always been a rather pragmatic, rather play in transition, rely on pace and talent of players that get it done in individual moments and just defend really well and protect the goal and just be tight. Unit, don't give up much space, not necessarily parking the bus, no nothing, but they keep it tight defensively and they play through that. They play through transition and they pick and choose their moments where they really turn it on and really put pressure on the opposing team. They don't play 99 miles per hour all the time, and they've never been a team that'll dictate tempo and suffocate opponents with the ball and all that. That's never been their game, which I'm not discrediting them for it. I think that what works for them, and they've won a World Cup playing this sort of way, so I can't hate on it. They've also been to a European Championship final in 2016 and a World Cup final again in 2022, so they've had major success in the tournaments. But there is certain games that you will have to pay when you play this kind of style. And really, I've been surprised. I've been kind of surprised that it's taken this long. I think, in my opinion, Didier Deschamps, I don't know how it was taking this long. I don't know how he's protected him for this long. But I think Didier Deschamps was definitely going to pay a price at some point for playing Upamecano. There had to be some sort of price that he paid. And it came in the 78th minute, 77th minute or so, where he made a horrible attempt to play the ball, just a horrible attempt in a bad area of the box, concedes a penalty, and brings Poland an opportunity. Because let me just be honest. Before that play, before Upamecano hands Poland the opportunity to get back into this game, Poland showed no signs of even threatening to scare Macmahon. They had no sort of real. I had no real thought that they were gonna find the breakthrough. They showed none of those capabilities, and in that situation, the last thing you can do, you do is concede a penalty. And this Upamecano question, We've a lot of people have been pondering for Saliba to start amongst this French team, and Didier Deschamps, he finally gives him the opportunity, and we all think he's giving him the opportunity for Upamecano, but Upamecano keeps his spot, and it's Konate that hits the bench, and Konate that's been very, very good when he's played for France too, really good. He actually started for them in the World Cup semifinals against Morocco. I believe when Varane was injured. Was it Varane or Upamecano? I don't know. One of those were injured, and he played really well. Konate has played in big games and been really big important for France. He's had a good season at Liverpool. He's a good center back overall. I thought Konate was going to be the one that started alongside, but he decided to keep going with Upamecano, and Upamecano that got a benched at Bayern. Upamecano that makes so many bad mistakes in bad areas. Just overall, he's talented, but he's a clumsy defender, and he made a clumsy play. And when you play the way that France play, you could get those individual moments could be the death of you. And by the way, after Poland was able to get that penalty to make it back 1-1, when we thought they had no chance to get themselves back into the game, but that next 5 to 10 minutes or so seemed like Poland could potentially go on and win it. They will really look like the dominant force. In France, they struggled to get a foot on the ball for the next 5-10 minutes. It was France that were put on the back foot. Now France were able to withstand the pressure, and then they got their opportunities over the last few minutes. But at the end of the day, it was just too little, too late from this France team. As they're missing something. They're missing something. Now, for me, France under Deschamps, they've played their best football in international tournaments when they've had Giroud up top to play that sort of number 9 role, but can also be a target man that can bring in the likes of Griezmann, Dembele, and Mbappe into play, and be just more than just a typical number 9. For me, he's always been, whenever he started for France, they've always played their best attacking football. And these European Championships have not been their best attacking football. The last World Cup was when he was playing. The European Championship beforehand was not their best football when Giroud was not playing. The World Cup before that, though, it was when Giroud was playing. I think the level of performances from this national team in terms of attacking play has been much better with Giroud starting. And, it's clear that Deschamps doesn't think he's there at that level at this point in his stage, and he's more of a guy that comes in off the bench. But the attack does not look threatening at all. At all. On all 3 games, the attack has not created much opportunities. Even in this game, they didn't make Skorupski work. He had a very brilliant game in my opinion. But there was some times in the game where you really thought there was a lack of cutting edge amongst this French team, which is crazy because France never really been, even their breakthrough has been a penalty. They've scored 2 goals this tournament. 2 goals this entire tournament. It's been an own goal in that opening game, an own goal which, the Austrian player literally headed the ball in his own goal. Like he redirected the ball into his own goal. It was a really bad own goal. And then a penalty today. They have not scored, no French player has scored a single goal from open play. This entire tournament, that's not a good look at all. That's really, I wouldn't say really concerning, because I think France are able to turn it on. If you look at that bench, oh my goodness. But the performance is not good enough, and honestly, this is a devastating, not devastating, but a massive moment for them, because now they're having to go onto the difficult side of the bracket with Germany, Spain, and Portugal. Their potential pathway to European Championship final is not, in terms of the round, let me get this clear though, in terms of the round of 16 tie that they're going to face, finishing second or first in this group doesn't matter, because you're going to be playing a second place team from another group no matter what. No matter the first or the second place team, they're both going to be facing a second place team in the round of 16. But this puts you in the tough side of the bracket with France, Spain, with Germany, Spain, Portugal. That's a difficult side of the bracket to be in. And France does have the quality to still get through that side of the bracket. They still have the quality, the ability amongst the players, the experience, all that. But they just make it that much harder for themselves. And also, France has made their runs in these international tournaments off the basis where they've been able to rest a lot of their key guys in their third game. In the situations where, in the tournaments that they have not been able to rest their key guys in the last game, their runs have not lasted that long at all. When you look at it's only been one tournament like that in the Deschamps era, and it was the 2021 Euros, where they got eliminated in the round of 16. They really benefited a lot from Deschamps being able to rest in that final game. And he wasn't able to do that because he was trying to chase this first place, and they weren't able to do that either. So it's kind of a lose-lose. Now, they were able to make sure that they didn't finish third, because if they lost this game, that's also a potential chance, which would have been even worse for them. But still, it's just like, I don't know. Now I feel like France still has what it is to turn it on, and I still think that they are the favorites to win this tournament. In terms of generality, like I didn't choose them to win it, but in terms of in general, I think they should still be considered the favorites to win this tournament because of everything that they've proved as a national team under Deschamps. But it is a massive, massive result. And this makes it that much harder for them to win the European Championships. And I think it is a big, big deal. And they've been underwhelming this European Championship. There's no two ways about it. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to Austria defeating Netherlands and finishing first in this group.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Before the break, we reacted to France drawing with Poland and dropping to second in their group. We move on to discuss Austria. They have defeated the Netherlands and they finished first place in their group. Massive result for them in this game. There's two angles to go about it. There's the Austrian perspective and the Netherlands perspective. I am going to start off with the Netherlands. Netherlands, in my opinion, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Now, there's concerns in this team. The midfield has been injury ravished. Even this game, they played Veerman, and Veerman was clear he was not at the level of what he can be when he's at his best, Joey Veerman. And you could see the distress on his face when he was substituted after just 33 minutes. He was nowhere near it, and it was clear. 33 minutes in, he was substituted immediately. Bad look for him. And former, even crazy thing is former Dutch legend Rafael van der Vaart, former Tottenham midfielder. He came out and he admitted that it was tough to watch the players' reactions, and that Koeman made the right choice when he was on Dutch TV, but he was just nowhere at it, and it was really shocking to see. You don't really see that at this sort of level. Now, players do get substituted sometimes earlier in the game, but yeah, wow, 33 minutes in, and it really just shows the concerns amongst this midfield for Netherlands. But overall, I would say I don't think it's all doom and gloom with this team. Now, it's clear they live and die by Memphis Depay. And today, it was really back and forth game. They were so opened up in certain times because of the way Austria played to one extent, but they were just so open sometimes in the back. It was very concerning. I thought what Cody Gakpo was able to do really, he's a different player playing for the Netherlands. He's a brilliant player playing for the Netherlands. And what he was able to do in this game, how dynamic he was a good sign for them. But just how open that they were. Now, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal, actually, is a crazy thing to say. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't think they just enter this European Championship knockout stage as some easy pushover for whoever they face. I don't think it's that they're that bad of a level. They're clearly not at the level of the Dutch super teams that we have seen in the past. There's no two ways about that. But the desperation to really chase this game was not there, to be honest. Like, I believe if this was in a situation where they needed to at least get a point from this game to move on, I don't think they would lose this game. I think but there were certain moments that they really went after it, and then there was certain parts of the game where they really were put on the back foot, which is not a good sign. But I'm not saying they didn't try or anything. That's a crazy thing to say. But I definitely think the level of desperation wasn't there from a team that's facing elimination, which they weren't. But I think it would have been a different story if it was. Really concerned how open that they were defensively. Now, the first goal did come off an own goal. But overall, I thought Austria was the better of teams. They were more lively in dangerous areas. The periods that Austria dominated were really, really dominant. Now, the stats don't really tell that when you look at 11 shots for Netherlands, 9 for Austria, 2 shots on target, 5, 47% possession, 53% for Netherlands. But I thought Austria was the better team. Austria is a very, very fit, energetic team. And Arnautovic, he came out in the presser afterwards. He actually did it in Dutch because he played in their division, talking about how they're energetic, how they have so much energy because they're fit. And yeah, that's the case. They are a very fit team. And it's amazing how Ralf Rangnick has been able to adopt his philosophy in an international team, which is a difficult thing to do, with the fact that you don't have as much time with the national team as you do with the club. How these players are at these fitness levels to be able to play this pressing system, this energetic open system, and kind of heavy metal football. How does he develop the fitness of these players within the short spurts of times that he has them? And he only gets the players about a week, 2 weeks before the European Championships begin. How does he get all these players at the top level of fitness? I don't know how. It's remarkable to me how Ralf Rangnick is able to adopt this sort of philosophy. When I was first introduced as the Austrian manager, I was like, can he? Because I was never really, I never disrespected him like the way United fans or Premier League people did because of what he showed at Manchester United or what he didn't. I always knew he was a brilliant manager. When you look at what some of the other German great managers say about him, like Jurgen Klopp, like Hansi Flick, Nagelsmann, what they say about him, the reputation he has amongst Germany, being really the god or the grandfather of heavy metal, high gegenpressing, high intensity football. I always gave him the respect that he deserved, and I thought he had a good opportunity to change it up for Austria, but I was confused in the fact that how can he adopt this philosophy amongst a national team when you don't really have that kind of time with the players? But the style of play that they had, you saw from the first game on, they lost to France, but they impressed versus France. They more than made a good showing on themselves. Then they took care of the opposition when they needed to against Poland. And then in this game, they were really clinical. They really took advantage of the chances when they came. They were professional in how they did it. The other team when Netherlands equalized or Netherlands equalized the second time, they didn't put their heads down. They didn't go in a shell. Instead, they lifted their heads up and they kept going on. They used the other team as scoring a goal as a way to push themselves on even more. And yeah, this is a brilliant result for Austria. I mean, absolutely brilliant, because they win the group, right? Now, I said this yesterday when I was previewing the group. Winning the group or finishing second is not the worst deal when it comes to the round of 16 ties, because no matter what, you'll be facing a second place team. So you'll be probably facing, I don't know exactly what second place teams there is. I think one is in group. One of it is Portugal's group, I think, or the other is Belgium's group, something like that. But there's still 2 second place teams. But the difference amongst finishing first and second is when you look at the side of bracket that they're on and what potential matchups would they have in the quarterfinals, semifinals. Because France now, since they finished second, go to the side of France, of Germany, Portugal, Spain. while Austria get a slightly or a much easier side when you look at right now. So far, the teams confirmed it's Switzerland, Italy, and England. That's and now the other teams are probably going to be Belgium. That'll be the other decent team that could potentially be in that bracket. That's a massive reward for Austria in winning the group. You have to say now they have to take care of the quarterfinals or the round of 16 against the second place team that they play. But if they're able to take advantage of that team, they have the necessary means to make a run. They're well managed. They got players that play at very good levels for their national team, that step it up for their national team. You saw Marcel Sabitzer, not just the goal he scored, but in terms of general play, absolute brilliant. Baumgartner, he has ability. He's a very tidy player. Anatrovic, he normally doesn't start. He started today, but he's a guy off the bench that can make a difference. You got the likes of Konrad Leimer, and they were able to rest some of their key guys too in Baumgartner and Leimar and still get the result. So, yeah, this Austrian team is not a team to be messed with. I think this is an Austrian national team that we'll see at future international tournaments too, because these players are not aging. Ralf Rangnick is going to continue to manage them. He's staying on despite being linked with Bayern and them trying to go after him. He stayed on with Austria. So this is a team that's not only going to be an outfit at this European Championships in the knockout stage, but this is a team that I see in the World Cup in 2 years. I think they're, especially with this 48-team World Cup, the expanded World Cup, don't sleep on Austria. I think they have brilliant players and a great manager, and they have a great way of going about it. So hats off to them. Congrats to them. They win the group, and massive achievement for them winning the group, because we didn't give them a chance. If you looked at it from when the draw happened with France, Netherlands, and then we didn't know Poland at that point. It was the playoff, because when the draw came, the playoff didn't happen. But if nobody gave Austria a chance to win the group. Nobody. And now they've gone on and done it. Massive congratulations to them. Show break here coming up. When we come back, we will move on to discuss tomorrow's matchups as the Group E gets wrapped up this European Championship.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Before the break, we reacted to Austria defeating Netherlands and finishing first in Group D. We move on to preview tomorrow's matchups that will wrap up Group E of these European Championship. Group E is an interesting group. We entered the group. We entered the final match day with everybody level on points, which is a very climactic end that we'll be seeing because of that, which is great, as a neutral. Now, if you're a fan of these teams, obviously it's not it's not horrible, but it's also not a great position, because it's really going to be a stressful couple of hours tomorrow as they watch their conclusions. But any team can move on from this, and any team can get eliminated, and it's going to be interesting. Belgium will be taking on Ukraine, and Romania will be taking on Slovakia. So it's clear, any of these teams, they win and they're through. Now, if games start finishing in draw, if both games start finishing in a draw, we could be in a potential place that all teams finish with 4 points. Now, that will see Romania and Belgium through based on goal differential. So Slovakia and Ukraine will definitely have to be more on the front side of it, because they don't want to rely. They will definitely have to be more protagonists in their games, because Slovakia and Ukraine, now a point is not the worst deal in the world for them, but they're gonna have to rely on the other side not finishing in a point, in another game finishing in a draw too. They're gonna, they're putting themselves in a position to have to wait get help from the other game. They're gonna need a team to win one of the other game, Slovakia and Ukraine, because of everybody. If both games finish in a draw, Romania and Belgium move on first and second place. So Slovakia and Ukraine, though, they could still move on with a point, but it makes it tricky. They have to get help from the other game. One of the two teams has to win that game. The other games cannot finish in a draw. Like if you're Slovakia perspective, let's say you draw with Romania, you have to make sure either Belgium beat Ukraine or Ukraine beat Belgium. That game cannot finish in a draw because one of those teams have to finish below 4 points. Same thing with the other way around. Of Ukraine were to draw with Belgium, they have to pray that either Slovakia beat Romania or Romania beat Slovakia. Because if they finish 4 points, if both teams finish with 4 points, Ukraine will be out because of the goal differential. But there's also no. There's also the third place element within this too, though. At the same time, this actually can get so tricky. There's so many different ways this can go. I think both, because you could finish with 4 points and finish last, and that'll get you eliminated as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that this can go. This is way too complicated at the end of the day. Way too complicated breakdown. But we will go game by game. Romania and Slovakia, it's interesting in how Slovakia both of these teams were able to have a very good opening day, but came out rather disappointing results in the second day. But they have everything ahead of them still because of what they did in that opening day with Romania defeating Ukraine 3-0 and Slovakia beating Belgium 1-0. They still have everything in front of them, which is still a good position that they find themselves in. Romania head coach Edward Ordonescu came out saying it's important for them to beat Slovakia and to win Group E because it gives them more of an advantage in the knockout stages. Yes, that's the thing, but also you want to. It's important for you to win, period, because you don't want to put in a position where you might need help to get out of the group, because the third place team in this group will more than likely move on as long as they don't really get pelted. Third place in this group is probably going to move on because Hungary has -3 goal differential and they're a third place team. Now Croatia, they only have 2 points, so you knock that out of the way. That's at least one team you finish ahead of. But Hungary is the other team. They have 3 points, but they have a -3 goal differential. So whoever finishes third in this group will probably not have a -3 goal differential. I mean, Ukraine right now are -2, but yeah, Ukraine can find themselves in a tricky position if they finish third in that group. But if they lose that game, then I don't really think they will finish third. So third place in this team will more than likely go on. Now, Romania, they currently sit on top of the group, right? Because of how they performed against Ukraine, winning 3-0. And this is also a unique situation we find ourselves in because this is the first time in European Championship history that we have found themselves entering the last game which all team level in points. That's amazing. The most important thing now for these teams, though, is to ensure qualification. Number one, that is the most important thing. Winning the group is good, but qualification is very, very important. Especially when you look at Romania, they've only qualified once for the last 16 in 5 European performances. The last time was in 2000. Slovakia, they haven't been into the knockout stages since 2016. Belgium, it's clear the incentive with them. They're trying to go on. They're trying to get on this run again. Maybe one last dance, hopefully for them. Ukraine, with the nation behind them, they performed actually pretty good at the last European Championships, reaching the quarterfinal. They want to replicate that sort of run. Now, a win for any of these teams on Wednesday would earn them a place in the last of 16. A point will be enough for Belgium, Romania, and Slovakia all to progress. No matter what, Belgium, Romania, Slovakia, if they draw, all of them going through. Ukraine, they draw is tricky because then they're relying on help and all that to make sure they're third place. Because if they finish fourth, they could still be last place in the group. If Belgium beat Ukraine and Romania and Slovakia draw, then Romanians will finish second based on goal differential. Slovakia's head coach Calzona came out saying, we are professionals. We know that the draw might help us to qualify for the last 16, but that doesn't mean anything because we want to play our own match. We deserve this opportunity to progress as we have played good football, which I think I agree with him. I thought they played pretty good in that first game. In that second game against Ukraine, I thought they played really, really good at certain times, and they were really unfairly unlucky in that game to end up losing. I think Ukraine was really able to turn it on in that second half. But overall, I thought they have played for some good ball at this tournament. Ukraine, it's time that these big-time players show up for them. Dovbyk, Zinchenko, Modric, Yaremchuk. Quality players amongst this Ukraine team. In terms of quality, they're easily the second place team in this group. But their performances, even in that Slovakia game, despite they won, their performances in certain spurts in that game and in general against Romania has not been to the level of quality that they have. And they really need to step it up because they shouldn't even find themselves in this position. Neither should Belgium, who laid an egg in their opening game. Belgium and Ukraine should be the two clear teams based on quality in this group. But them not performing, the players not showing up in the big time moments are the reasons why this is really an open group in this final game, which is not the situation where Belgium and Ukraine should find themselves in. When a group enters the final game and all teams in the group have 3 points or all level, that has a lot to say with the big teams in that group underperforming, and that's exactly what's happened. Belgium shocked everybody with that performance against Slovakia, or not performance. I didn't think the performance was horrible, but the result against Slovakia, and Ukraine laying that absolute egg against Romania in that opening game. So the quality of these two teams have to prevail if they want to get out. I think Belgium will get out. I think their quality will prevail. Ukraine, they find themselves in the trickiest position. They have, in terms of what it is, the standings right now, they have the least chance to make it out. I do think their quality will. I don't know. No, I don't think Slovakia will happen. It's really tricky. It's really tricky. Slovakia taking on Romania. No, I think Ukraine will be going home. I think Belgium take care of Ukraine. I don't think Ukraine will get the point, and I think that Romania-Slovakia game will do a lot to determine who finishes second and third. But at the end of the day, I do think both of those two teams will move on. It'll probably be cagey affair in that game. Both teams really playing for a draw just to be safe, and that'll be very, very interesting. Now Ukraine, of Romania, Slovakia finishing a draw, that's an absolute nightmare scenario for them, because now they're gonna have to go and win the game against Belgium, which is not where they want to find themselves. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. I've never seen a group like this. Tomorrow is going to be very, very interesting. Hopefully teams are not playing scared and make it dull, which I can see happening, especially in that Romania-Slovakia game. I hope we get open-ended football, but it's definitely going to be a very climactic ending. Final break here coming up. When we come back, we'll move on to react to some of the top headlines going on in the soccer world. before the break, we previewed tomorrow's matchups that will wrap up Group E of these European Championships. We move on to our final topic, which will be reacting to some of the top headlines going on in the soccer world. Now, real quick, I want to do a roundup real quick on the European Championship. I know we've talked about the Euros all day, but I just want to recap some of the matchups that we have set already for the knockout stages. These are confirmed matchups. Switzerland take on Italy. Interesting game in the fact that Switzerland have looked better than Italy this European Championships. There's no arguing that. But when it comes to football heritage, when it comes to football culture, Italy really gets it done in these sort of games. So I'm not giving you all my preview right now, but a little bit of a hint. And then the other game that's been confirmed up to this point is Germany-Denmark, which is also another interesting game in the fact that Germany are the clear favorites. But Denmark, they've proven that they can go on these sort of runs in these tournaments. They have some quality. Now, I don't think they really have the cutting edge and the attacking display to really give Germany a real run for their money. I think they can make it difficult for Germany, and Germany's shown that they're not world beaters in how they performed against Switzerland, and they can play down to the level of quality other team. Not disrespecting Switzerland, they're still a high class team, but they're not really at this. They're not in terms of player quality at Germany's level. I think Denmark can make it tricky, but I still think Germany clear favorites in that matchup. So yeah, that's real quick for my Then also tomorrow, I didn't talk about this with the European Championships, but tomorrow the Portugal, Turkey, Czech, Georgia game completes. All teams are really in it for a chance to move on. Portugal, they're already through, as they're kind of win the group mathematically. Turkey, if they win by like 5-6 goals and Portugal lose, then then maybe Turkey could win the group. But other than that, Portugal, they're going to win the group. I see a lot of rest coming for them as they take on Georgia, which can make it better for Georgia, give Georgia a chance to move on, because Georgia already have a point at this tournament. And if they get a win, 4 points will probably be enough to see them, will be enough to see them through. So Georgia are still in it. Czech, Turkey, that's also a big game in the fact that the winner of that game is going to finish second. Czechia needs it a lot more than Turkey. They need to win. Turkey, if they finish with a point, it'll be enough for them to finish second. It'll be enough for them to finish second. Czechia, though, at the other hand, they have to go and win that game against Turkey. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting ending there as well. As far as Copa America goes, we've had some games concluded today. Peru, Canada. Canada were able to get the 1-0 win over Peru in a game that Peru was the better team. I was impressed with Peru and their performance to this game. I thought they played way better than what they showed against Chile. I think individually they were better. As a team, there was more cohesion. They were the better team in terms of before the red card. If you look at the stats, they were really the more, in the first half, they had a lot more possession of the ball. It leveled out in the second half, especially after the red card. It was 50-50 possession, but in the first half, Peru had a lot more possession. They had 9 shots, in total, if you look at it, they have 9 shots to Canada's 5, 4 shots on target to Canada 2. Canada didn't really play that great well, but Canada were able to get the breakthrough in transition, a great counterattack, and massive win for them, because now they have 3 points in the bag as they enter that final game in Chile. After starting off the first game with the L, you have to take advantage of a red card. And for Peru, it's just, really sad because, they were really the main protagonist in the game. They were better in this game. And then that red card, which is a red card, I don't understand the arguing. In fact, they should have had another red card beforehand. But that red card, clear red card. So, yeah. And then Argentina were able to get the 1-0 win over Chile in a game that they thoroughly dominated, but that's expected. I think there was a point in the game where they had 17, 18 shots where Chile didn't have none. if you look at the stats, 22 shots for Argentina, 3 shots for Chile, 9 shots on target for Argentina, 3 shots on target for Chile. But I do say Chile had their chances. Before Argentina were able to get the breakthrough, the last 10 or so minutes, Chile had multiple. You see, they had 3 shots on target. Emilio Martinez has to come up with 2 massive saves, and they were difficult saves too. Or Chile would have took the lead in the game late, which would have, put Argentina in a dangerous situation there. But Chile weren't able to get that breakthrough, and then Argentina on a set piece opportunity in the 88th minute, Lautaro Martinez, and yeah, that's the Argentina way under Lionel Scaloni, 1-0. But in this game, they were clearly better. Chile don't have the quality. Look, if you look at this Chile team, these are players that I remember watching at the 2014 World. Forget the 2 Copa Americas that they won. I remember watching these players in the 2014 World Cup. Claudio Bravo, Isla, Alexis Sanchez, Vargas. These are players that were part of the team that were at the 2014 World Cup 10 years ago. There's no new generation influx of Chilean talent. They're just not at that level at this point in age. It's a bad moment for them. It's a bad moment for them as a national team, and I think they're their Copa America is on life support as well as Peru's. But despite Peru outplaying Canada, entering this European Championship, I did think Argentina and Canada were the 2 best teams. I think in terms of quality that they possess, those are the 2 best teams. So no real surprises there, in my opinion, despite the performance that the Peruvians was able to have today. Brazil, they finished 0-0. Vinicius Rodriguez, lifeless. Vinicius, 3 goals and 31 caps. Nowhere near the level he is for Brazil that he provides for Real Madrid. No real clutch ability. No real clutchness from him. No real threat from him in behind. There's threat, but not the threat that he provides for Real Madrid. So, Brazil, they find themselves in a tricky position entering that second group game. But, it's a tough position to find themselves in. We didn't talk about Serbia. They got eliminated at these European Championships. Not enough goals from them. Mitrovic didn't really put his foot in this tournament at all. Didn't have much chances created from them. Didn't do much with the few opportunities he had. Was, a little bit wasteful. Serbia, I could have watched them for 200 minutes. They never really seemed like they were scoring. They had a chance to score. Their 1 goal that they scored at this European Championship came off a set piece, a corner. I thought in terms of general play, they've been pretty good in terms of general play. I don't think it's been bad. They outplayed England, but just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. And when you can't do that at this sort of level, you'll be going home, which I was surprised. I thought they really did. Dusan Tadic, I don't know what's up with the Serbian coach. Dusan Tadic is their main guy in terms of ability, in terms of quality. They're number 10 in terms of creation. He also has the ability to score a goal himself. But 2 of the 3 games, he didn't even start from the beginning. I don't understand that at all. I know he's an older player, but he still had a brilliant season in the Turkish league. I don't understand that at all, to be honest, whatsoever. It's confusing. I don't know. The U.S. men's national team, they have announced post this Copa America that they'll be playing Canada, New Zealand, Panama in their September and October matches, friendly matches. I don't understand why they continue to play. Why they continue to play against these national teams that really don't provide. Canada does, but New Zealand and Panama, Come on, you're preparing for a home World Cup in 2 years. Why not go against the bigger teams and continue to go up against some of the bigger teams in South America, or go to Europe and play against some of the big teams in Europe? Why do this? What's the point in these low quality friendlies that don't really show us much at all, that don't prove to us whether or not Berhalter's ways will prove against a good team? Why are you wasting these windows going up against these games? I don't understand the U.S. Soccer Federation. Really don't understand it. Really a horribly ran organization, and they continue to be horribly ran, going all the way back to the days where they would play games in New York, going up against Costa Rica. Just, ugh. And you think a change at the top will make it better. Still ran horribly. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into the politics of that. But we conclude today's show. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna